This story is about Lin Hao. One day, a crack appeared in space and a colossal monster emerged from it. The monster began to wreak havoc and destruction wherever it went, and unfortunately, Lin Hao met a tragic fate as a result. When he opened his eyes again, he unexpectedly became a koi fish. He awakened the dragon cultivation system, which promised him a chance to become a true dragon. By following the system's prompts, he will devour his prey and continue to evolve, fight the mutant behemoth, and one day evolve into a divine dragon. Our story begins in the ancient city of Lintian. It was a relatively normal day when a crack appeared in the sky. By the time our protagonist, Lin Hao, had noticed, a colossal monster appeared from the crack, wreaking havoc and destruction. Everything was engulfed in fire, and people were running in panic. It was a horrible sight, and he was witnessing it firsthand. While facing the monster, he received a call from his girlfriend, Xiao Shui. Determined not to die in this place, he thought about his girlfriend coming to see him after 3 years. Suddenly, a massive blast occurred, engulfing Lin Hao. At the last moment of his life, while raising his hand in the sky, he regretted not being able to see her again. His hand dropped in the pond, and his spirit came out of it. In the past, many strange alien-like creatures appeared on Earth, but people dismissed their occurrence as rumors. In 1934, the corpse of a giant dragon fell from the sky, and the next day, it vanished without a trace. In 1994, a giant crab monster appeared and caused 15 casualties. In 2020, there was also a sight of a giant monster in the ocean, while a crimson moon hung in the sky. But all of it vanished without a trace. As for the casualties, those have been attributed to accidents. Some people beside a pond were talking about Lintian City being annihilated in a single night, but the footage from drones showed nothing but ashes. Inside the pond, someone was complaining about the noise. When it opened its eyes, it saw fins, confused for a moment. It's realized that he has turned into a fish. He was our protagonist, Lin Hao. After dying, he turned into a tiny little carp. Confused about his death and the giant monster that appeared, his thoughts turned to Xiao Shui, his girlfriend, and he wanted to go out and have a look. But there were too many limitations to his new form. Suddenly, something appeared behind him. It was a group of monster crabs. They chased after him. Something appeared in front of him. A monstrous fish appeared, munching on the crabs. After that, another giant mutant fish appeared, devouring the monster fish. Lin Hao hid inside a bucket, terrified of the scene. He deemed it impossible to go out when he was just having trouble staying alive. Suddenly, the invincible leveling system activated, and a beautiful mermaid appeared. Lin Hao asked her what she was. She suddenly took his fin and brought him out of the deep ocean. They both appeared inside the shallow water. Lin Hao asked her who she was. She introduced herself as his system. She displayed all his stat in a status window. Lin Hao inquired about how he could raise his level, and she told him by eating. Lin Hao devoured a breadcrumb and received 0.1 evolution points. He concluded that he just needed to eat in order to evolve. After being dumbfounded about this simple method, he just accepted his new reality and started eating any breadcrumb he found. After some time, he was full from eating a lot of breadcrumbs. He gained a total of 5 evolution points. Being dissatisfied with the small amount of points, he complained about whether it was appropriate. His complaints didn't last long when he spotted another batch of crumbs coming. He hurriedly ate all the crumbs and got 0.5 evolution points. Surprised about the increased evolution points, he got curious about who would be feeding fish this late. Outside, a black-haired woman was standing beside the fish pond. She was Xiao Shui, Lin Hao's girlfriend. She was watching the picture of them together in a pocket watch and lamenting them being so close to seeing each other. She said Lin Hao's name while crying and wanted to know why he did not wait for her to return. Lin Hao in the pond misperceived her words and thought that she must be talking about her husband who has passed away. Suddenly, the pocket watch she was holding dropped into the water, tears running down her cheek as she thought about her bad luck. Someone came suddenly, addressing her as Captain Luo, and stated that they were leaving. She wiped her tears and confirmed the statement. She left, determined to find Lin Hao. Lin Hao in the pond saw the pocket watch and was surprised that Xiao Shui had come here. He started to swim toward the surface while asking her not to do anything reckless. When he reached the surface, he tried to call out to her, but started crying because he couldn't speak because he had become a fish. He remembered the pocket watch, which was a special keepsake that had been dropped in the deep water. He wanted to get it back no matter what, but he was too weak at the moment. He became sad about always narrowly missing each other. He wiped his tears and asked to wait for him. Lin Hao started to devour all the small fish and shrimp he could find, gathering points for his evolution. The mermaid, which was the system, was curious because most of the hosts mope around for a few days, but he had never seen such an eager fish. A system message appeared announcing the condition for evolution to be fulfilled. It asked if he would evolve now. Lin Hao pandered about what his evolution would lead to. He pressed yes, and he started to evolve. The mermaid answered that there was no limit to his evolution. Sometime later, after the evolution, Lin Hao opened his eyes. The mermaid was staring closely at him. This surprised Lin Hao. The mermaid wondered why it had taken so long for him to evolve. Lin Hao, after evolving, changed a bit. He felt like his body had grown and his scale had become tougher. A window appeared displaying his stats. He had become level 3 and acquired 2 new skills, Mighty Tail Swipe and Steel Scale Armor. The mermaid informed him that his scale would become as hard as steel for 3 seconds with a 10-second cooldown. He spotted a few creatures in the distance eating a dead fish. He quickly rushed over while using his skill, Mighty Tail Swipe, and knocked down the other monster fishes. A giant monster fish appeared behind him, wanting to devour Lin Hao, but its attempt became futile after he activated his skill, Steel Scale Armor. All the sea creatures ran away in fear. Lin Hao was assigned 2 quests. The first one was a normal quest that required him to devour 100 black shell shrimps. The reward for completing this quest would be enhanced night vision skill. The second quest was a difficult one that required him to devour a mutated creature. If he succeeded in completing this quest, he would receive a random new skill as a reward. Lin Hao was surprised after seeing the quest and asked what the end of all this was. The mermaid informed him that the real prize for finishing these quests is a lot more than mere skills. He asked if it meant he could become a human in the future. She answered that anything was possible, after hearing that Lin Hao started to rush towards the deep water, stating that his first priority should be to get back the keepsake. The mermaid tried to stop him, but he told her to stay away from this. While hiding behind the seagrass, he spotted the pocket watch. It was the perfect time for him to grab it because all the big fish were not around it anymore. He got close to the pocket watch. Determined to get it, he noticed something. He was in the territory of a giant mutant monster. The feeling he got after seeing it was the same as the monster he had seen back in the ancient city of Lintian. Sometimes later, the mermaid pulled Lin Hao out of the deep water. Lin Hao became sad about his powerless self, who couldn't even retrieve a pocket watch. He remembered the past when they lived together. Xiao Shui asked Lin Hao if she could eat some noodles because she was feeling hungry. He prepared the noodles and called out to her, but she was gone. Back to reality, the mermaid asked Lin Hao what he was thinking so deeply. Lin Hao dismissed her question, saying it was nothing. She told him that if there is something he wants, he needs to work hard to devour and evolve. Lin Hao agreed to her statement. Later, he spotted some conchas. He was surprised by the size of it. He tried to eat it, but was unable to because of the hardness. He spit out the conch and became frustrated with not being able to eat. He remembered the time when he encountered the giant mutant monster and thought that it would take him a lot of time to evolve by simply eating small fish. The scene switched to a place near the ocean. A vehicle stopped. Xiao Shui was sitting inside it. The person next to her informed her that they had arrived. The corpse of a giant dragon was placed in a sealed area, and he was shocked to see the sight of it. Xiao Shui came out of the vehicle and ordered everyone to start evacuating. She warned everyone that the dragon's corpse could explode. There have been cases of whale corpses exploding due to excessive accumulation of putrid gas during the decomposition process. Xiao Shui put on medical gloves and a mask and picked a scalpel. She ordered her subordinate to prepare the ventilation pipes. She made a large cut in the skin and put the pipe inside. The pipes were connected. She received a warning from the intercom that they detected an error in the reading and to get away from the corpse. After listening to the warning, she hurriedly ran with her assistant. The dragon's corpse exploded. The scene switches to Lin Hao's side of things. He was enjoying some black shell shrimps. According to him, they were nice and crunchy and gave more evolution points than small fishes. He received 3 evolution points from 3 black scale shrimps. He also obtained the achievement of Black Shell Shrimp Hunter and received a normal treasure chest as a reward. The mermaid informed him that he had eaten over 200 shrimps. The message window asked if he wanted to open the chest. He answered yes, and a chest appeared in the mermaid's hand. When it opened, a ray of light came out of it, engulfing Lin Hao. His basic ability and skill level increased, and he received Razor Sharp Teeth skill. He activated the skill, and the mermaid enthusiastically asked him to show his skill. Lin Hao questioned her if she couldn't just check herself because she was the system. But she replied that these rewards were all random, so the system could not direct them. The reward was applied, and it made Lin Hao's teeth itch. Annoyed by the itch, he ate a conch and crushed it in a single bite. He asked the mermaid how his teeth looked, but after seeing it she stated that she couldn't comment. He ate nearby small fish and was disgusted by the taste of it. He started to ponder what the mutated monster would taste like. He questioned what counts as a mutated creature. He asked the mermaid if the quests he had been receiving were randomly generated or if they were based on conditions, but she stated that she did not know. Lin Hao stated that if the quest were based on conditions, then there might be a mutated creature nearby. A monster was lurking in the darkness. Lin Hao called out to it, but there was no response. He heard voices coming from the surface. Someone mentioned Boss Peng, stating that the pleco fish shouldn't be released into the wild, but Boss Peng silenced him, saying it was like saying pleco fish weren't real fish. A group of pleco fishes were dropped into the water. Lin Hao asked that what type of demon would release pleco fishes into the wild. Deep in the water, a large snake-like creature emerged. Lin Hao received multiple warnings from the system that there was a high-level danger nearby and to prepare for combat. The snake-like mutant creature rushed towards the group of plecos. Lin Hao contemplated how to get out of this situation inside the pond. Another giant fish was trying to devour the plecos. The two mutant creatures faced off, and the snake-like mutant creature started to devour the mutant fish. Lin Hao saw this as his chance to get away from them, and started to eat the small plecos. It was hard for him to devour them, and they were sticking between his teeth. He got 10 evolution points from eating a single pleco fish. He was amazed by this large amount of points. The snake-like creature killed the giant fish, and its sight shifted toward Lin Hao. Lin Hao, terrified, told himself to calm down. He noticed the wound the snake-like creature received from the giant fish. The mutant eel charged at Lin Hao, but he evaded it and took cover in a narrow crevice between the rocks. The mutant eel swapped its tails and destroyed the rocks to find Lin Hao. He concluded that the mutant eel would lose interest in him because of all the plecos around, but it was not what he had thought. The mutant eel continues to destroy the ground to find Lin Hao. Lin Hao believed that if he stayed hidden and not smashed to death, he still had a chance. When he was just about to be killed by the mutant eel tail, he rushed out. The mutant eel grabbed Lin Hao with its tongue. Lin Hao used his mighty tail swipe skill to get out of the mutant eel's grasp, but failed. The mutant eel moved closer to devour him. On the Xiao Shui side of things, they had managed to escape the blast. A person grabbed her hand and shielded her from the falling flesh. The dragon's corpse was turned to pieces. Xiao Shui thanked the man. She noticed something inside the pile of flesh. It was the eggs of the dragon. She was shocked and told her subordinate to gather weapons to destroy them, and not to let the eggs drop into the ocean. They gathered the weapons and blasted them all to smithereens. The person next to Xiao Shui praised her for her intelligence and shooting skills. On the Lin Hao side, he was eaten by the mutant eel and was inside its belly. The gem on his forehead glowed, and he told himself that he couldn't die in such a place. He wanted to get out of mutant eel's stomach, and remembered that it had a wound in its body. The plecos that it had eaten before was been digested. He activated his skill. Steel scale armor to avoid being digested and started to look for the wound. He notices a light coming from deep inside its stomach. He concluded that the mutant eel must have been healing the wound. He found the wounded spot, activated his skill to harden his scales, and dove into the wound, causing the mutant eel extreme pain. He got out of the eel's body and rushed towards the shallow waters. The mutant eel didn't chase after him and ran away. Lin Hao was relieved because the mutant eel had been injured previously. Otherwise, he would have died inside its stomach. He asked the mermaid about the depth of the pond that could contain such a large creature. He asked if there was an interdimensional portal at the bottom. The mermaid answered that she had no idea, and it was up to him to find out. Lin Hao thought that the mutant eel had already killed all the big fishes, so now he could devour the small plecos. He rushed towards the plecos and started eating. He was happy about the large points he was getting, but he was not thrilled by the taste. The system message appeared, informing him that the condition for evolution had been met, and asked if he wanted to evolve now. Lin Hao answered yes, and his evolution began. After the evolution, the system window appeared, displaying his new status. His body length increased to 70 centimeters, and he had received a new passive skill. Lin Hao and the mermaid checked the skill. The skill's name was Tearing Bite, which increased biting strength. Lin Hao was glad that his body size had increased, but he was still far from that mutant eel. The system gave a new quest to Lin Hao. 2 were normal quests, the first to devour 100 pleco fishes, and the second to devour 100 apple snails. The reward for both of these quests was the hardening of his scales. The third quest rank was difficult, and it stated to devour 1 mutated creature. The reward for this quest was a random skill. Lin Hao prepared himself to eat the pleco fishes. He spotted a group and started to devour. He found a fish that was hollow inside. There were some worm-like creatures inside the shell. It escaped from the shell of the pleco fish and started to enter another fish through its eyes. Lin Hao watched as the fish died. He was baffled by the situation. He guessed that the worm could be eating the fish's brain. Lin Hao asked the mermaid about what the worm was and if it was something he could eat. The mermaid answered that he could try it out himself. Lin Hao tried to eat the fish the worm was invading, but it came out and escaped. Lin Hao became frustrated when the worm-like creature escaped his mouth. He concluded that the worm could not be native to the pond and must be from the deep waters. He thought that it might seem like the shallow water was peaceful, but he was fighting hard for his survival. The mermaid poked at his forehead, asking if he was still thinking about the pocket watch. Lin Hao remembered his goal to quickly level up so he could get the pocket watch back. He rushed towards the plecos and started eating them. The scene shifts to a location on the ocean shore where the police have sealed a boat. A person was lying dead in the bed, and the police were investigating. A person explained to the police that everyone was killed by Loach. The police were reluctant to believe this statement, but the person, while panicking, swore that he was telling the truth, and the Loach bit through Jung's neck and burrowed itself. He explained that he was too scared to react and could not report to the police. The police officer told him that he was talking about many people, but they only found one person's body. He got confused and panicked. He shouted that he had told everyone not to take those things with them. Now the Loach killed them all. The officers tried to calm him down. They decided to contact the Dragon Group because this case seemed to be in their jurisdiction. Xiao Shui arrived at the scene. She noticed that the fish were hollow inside. She asked where they had found the eggs. The person replied that they had found it on the coast by the restricted area. Xiao Shui asked about the missing body, and the police officer replied that they had found a blood trail leading to the nearby river. Xiao Shui contemplated that the dragon corpse they had found could also be infested by the mutated sea loach. She called her team and told them that there was a chance that the mutated cocoon they were looking for flowed into the city zone. She ordered them to start the search immediately. She told the police officer to take her to the river. On Lin Hao's side, he finished eating all the plecos. The mermaid questioned him, saying that there were many things to eat, so why was he just eating the plecos? He replied that the plecos were an invasive species. Lin Hao explained that now he had eaten all the plecos that could threaten the natural wildlife in the shallow water, and the only things that were left were the harmless native species. The system message announced that the evolution condition had been met, and asked if he would like to evolve now. After evolving, he acquired the auspicious dwelling skill, which increased his fortune. The system message appeared, and he received 2 quests. The normal rank quest was to consume 100 plecos, with the reward being an increase in teeth sharpness. The difficult rank quest required defeating 10 mutated creatures to earn a blue chest as a reward. After seeing the same quests again, Lin Hao concluded that the quests were reset daily. There were not many mutated creatures inside the pond, so he was troubled by the increased number of mutated creatures he was required to devour. Lin Hao was puzzled to encounter the loaches who were supposed to live in the sea. He questioned if there was someone smuggling the mutated creatures into the pond, or if they were just mixed up with the plecos. He dismissed these thoughts and continued to increase his level. After a while, he evolved. The status window displayed his new stats. His body size increased to 1.3 meters, and his level rose to 7. His divine power, auspicious dwelling, became level 3, and he received a new skill, camouflage, which changed his body color to the surrounding area. The surrounding fishes became excited because of his divine skill, which can increase the evolution rate of living beings. Lin Hao concluded that this skill only affected the living creatures in his vicinity. Outside the pond, the mother and daughter were looking at the fishes. The mother said that they would come here next time because there was a lockdown going on. Suddenly, the dragon group arrived and surrounded the pond. They evacuated everyone and dropped some devices in the pond. Lin Hao was surprised to see these devices and thought that they may be looking for something. Suddenly, the device glowed red because it detected a mutated creature. Lin Hao also received warnings from the system because he had been discovered. Outside the pond, the dragon group put on underwater equipment and dived in the pond. The system gave multiple warnings to Lin Hao to leave immediately. He contemplated that the deep waters were too dangerous with unknown mutant creatures, but it was better then to just die into the shallow water. Lin Hao moved towards the deep water. There were many mutated creatures, but there was not much danger. The mermaid asked him to venture even deeper into the depths, but Lin Hao refused and stated that as his system, how could she give him bad advice? The mermaid asked Lin Hao if he would eat a fish now that he was in the deep water. After watching the fish being devoured by the loaches, he felt goosebumps. He activated his camouflage skills and got close to the fish. With a big bite, he devoured the fish head. To him, it's as if he was eating grass noodles. The system message appeared announcing the difficult rank mission to be completed and asked if he would like to receive the reward. He stated yes, and a chest appeared. He received the skill, Black Iron Scales. When Lin Hao activated the skill, Black Scaled appeared on his body. Lin Hao stated that with this skill his defense would be increased greatly. While he was checking his reward, a monster was observing him. Lin Hao noticed the monster. It was the mutant snake. The mutant snake rushed towards Lin Hao, but he quickly escaped. He received a warning from the system that the opponent's strength was slightly higher than his. Lin Hao stopped. He stated that if the mutant snake's combat power was only slightly higher than his, he would attempt to fight it. The mutant snake rushed to attack him. Lin Hao activated his Black Iron Scales skill. The mutant snake attempted to bite into Lin Hao, but failed. Lin Hao used his Tail Slam skill, which damaged the mutant snake. The mutant snake tried to devour Lin Hao again, but instead, Lin Hao bit into the mutant snake's skin. The mutant snake tried to strangle Lin Hao, but it was futile. The mutant snake tried to run away, but Lin Hao didn't let it go. He got slammed into the ground during all this struggle. With all his might, he tore apart the area of flesh he was biting. The mutant snake caught Lin Hao with its tongue. He activated his skill scale, strengthening Tail Swing, causing massive damage to the mutant snake. The mutant snake died, and the system announced that he had slain the mutant red dot brocade snake. Lin Hao started to eat the mutant snake, and he received 500 evolution points. He was surprised by the large number of points he received, and the mermaid explained that it was because he challenged a creature beyond his limit, and he also gained something unexpected. Lin Hao inquired about what unexpected gain he received, and bright light started to envelop Lin Hao. He opened his eyes and saw a human hand. This was his hand, and he unexpectedly transformed into his old body. To be continued. If you want to watch the next part, then like and subscribe and let me know in the comment of what recap you want to watch next.